write a Java program to print write a Java program to print prime numbers from 1 to 10. So which are prime numbers from 1 to 10? Our output has to be, so it is 2, then 3 also, then 5 also, then 7 also. So this has to be our output for this question. Then how do we get this? So for that, we have to understand what is a prime number first of all. When we say a number is a prime number, please tell me, you have learned in math. How do you say a number is a prime number? For example, 1. Is it
When
is it a prime number?
no,
2. Is it a prime? How do you say? Mm-hmm. Yeah, please tell me. Hmm. So in a simplest way, if a number is having only two factors, 1 and itself, it means it has to be divisible by only two numbers called 1 and itself, then such number is called as a prime number. Correct or not? Then to check it is divisible or not, where we have to start from. For example, I want to check 3 is prime number or not. With what numbers we have to divide 3 with? 3 has to divide with what? 1. Any number less than 3, can I take -2? No, it has to start from 1 only. Correct or not? Then 3 has to be divided with 2 to check. I'm checking. Then 3 has to divide with 3 also. Yes or no? Out of which this is yes. This is no. It means remainder will not be 0 when we divide 3 with 2. Then remainder will be 0 when we divide 3 with 3. Correct or not? Then for this, how many times the number is divisible exactly? 2 times. So therefore, we get the result as we conclude the result as prime number. Similarly, if I take for 4, then 4 has to be divided with what number to start with? First with 1 only. Then 4 has to be checked with 2. The next 4 with 3. The next 4 with 4 also. In this process, how many times it is true? 3 times true, 1 time? No. Then it's a prime number or not? It's not a prime number. Then when it comes to 2, we have to check with what? 2 with 1, then 2 with 2, then we have to count it how many times it is divisible. And similarly for 1 also, 1, what do you have to check with? 1 only. Can we go for 1 with 2? No. Here can we go 2 with 3? No. 4 with 5? Required. So my conclusion is, while checking always where we are starting with? We are always starting from 1 only. Correct or not? The next, where we are ending with? We are ending with what? The n only. Correct or not? 1 is ended with 1. 2 is ended with 2. 3 is ending with 3. 4 is ending with 4. Correct or not? Yeah, that's it. If you understand this part, writing Java code is very easy. So for generating these numbers, if this is to generate these numbers, we need one for loop. Am I correct or not? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on up to 10. We need one for loop. Correct or not? Correct or not?
yes, sir.
Then
Yes,
for generating these factors, do we need one more for loop or not?
yes, sir.
Every time there has to be a loop which should start from 1. Then it has to end by this outer for loop value. Are you getting me? Internally, one more loop has to run which should start from 1, which should end by the same outside loop value. Then here also starts from 1, end with outer loop value. Correct or not? So for these things, we need one more for loop. Correct? Are you getting me? Next, to count number of factors, we need one count variable or not? We need a one count variable to count the number of factors. Yes or no? Number of factors to count it, we need one variable. Then when we can say it's a prime number? If that count is exactly 2, then we can say it's a prime number. Yes or no? Prime number will be outer loop values or inner loop values. Which number is a prime number? 2 or 3, like that. They are of outer loop or inner loop. Outer loop values only are prime numbers or not, we are judging. Correct? So this is a just thinking process. Then how do you write a loop for this? So for that, do we need any external variables from our discussion?
Yes, sir.
Count variable is required. Correct or not? For each
Yes.
prime number, the count has to be starts from 0 or previous count only we have to carry forward to the next number. For example, 1 is having how many factors? 1. Therefore, what is the count?
One.
1. 2 is
One.
having how many factors? 2 factors.
Two factor.
Then what is the count for this? This
Two.
number, when we are counting, the count should be the previous value or the count has to be start from 0 once again. That's my question. For every
Previous value plus
for
one.
every new number, the count has to be start from 0 or count has to be previous value. 0 only now. So if I check for 2, then I have to check 2 is having how many factors. But should I use 1 factors and come to 2 and count it? No. Then in that way, when it comes to 3, already 3 numbers are there. Then 4 and 5 is the count we are going to get. How do you judge it's a prime number? That's why every time the count has to start from 0 only. That's why. So here, first what I'll do, I'll only declare a variable and I won't assign any value. Is this line of code is correct?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Can we only declare variable and leave it
Yes, sir. Possible.
without assigning any value?
Possible.
It is possible. It's possible in Java. In Python, it's not possible. If you know it, then followed by one for loop, which is to generate these outer values. Starts from where? Ends by 10.
Uh,
Then tell me how to write loop for that. For int I equals 1,
One.
I should be less than or equals 10. The next I equals I plus 1. Correct or not? So this is the outer for loop. The next, so outer for loop, what you are getting? One I value we are getting. Then for that, we have to make count as 0. Count as 0. So this is the appropriate place to initialize the count value to 0. Where? Inside outer for loop. Outside inner for loop. That's the proper location for initializing the count value to 0. Then to generate these numbers 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So for this, do we need one more for loop or not? So this is the best example for nested for loop situation. We can write for loop inside a for loop, and here is the one more for loop. Int, can I use I once again? So here I is used.
No, sir.
Can we use I? No.
No, sir.
Because it's a nested for loop, we can't use the same variable. So we have to go for J. J has to start from where? Every time?
One.
1 only, no? J loop has to start every time from 1. That's why J equals 1, semicolon. J has to end by what?
10.
J has to end by what?
10, sir.
Why
By
10?
itself.
By which?
J only, sir.
No. This is where? This number is in which variable? These numbers are in which variable?
I, sir.
I variable only, no? Then J has to end by what? I value.
I.
j has to be less than or equals to I. Understood? Then j has to increment by
Yes.
how much? 1 every
1.
time. J has to increment by 1. Then in such scenario, inside this j loop, what we supposed to write it? What is supposed to write? What's the purpose of this j loop? The I value is divisible by j or not. I value is divisible by j values or not. I value is divisible by j values or not. We have to check it. That's the purpose of inner loop. Then how to write it? If I mod j double equals 0. That means we are checking j is a factor of I or not. Yes, no? In that situation, what are we supposed to do? We have to print it's a prime number or we have to count the factors? Count the factors. That's why here count equals count plus 1. Increment the count by 1 every time if the condition is true. Then next step, where we have to print it. Okay, assume that this inner for loop is giving the count. And before we go for next I value, we have to check or not it's a prime number or not. Do we need to check or not? Yes, we have to check it. After counting for 2, we have to check and print it's a prime number or not. Then only go for the next number. Are you getting me? That's why where we have to check it outside the inner for loop, inside outer for loop only. So here is the if condition. If that count is 2, exactly 2. Because if it is one factor, we don't say it's not a prime number. If it is three factors also, we don't say it's a no, we don't say it's a prime number. If it is exactly 2 only, we'll say it's a prime number. That's why. So count equals 2. Then system dot out dot println, print which value? I values will be primes or not. That's what we are checking. That's why print this I value. That's it. This is the program which gives the prime numbers list from 1 to 10. If you want 1 to 100, if you want 1 to 1 lakh, if you want 10 to 200, if you want 200 to 500, all those numbers, this is starting, this is ending. We have to change it. Yeah, clear no? So here, this is the basic of prime number. We can improvise this logic to much better way that I'll discuss after some 10-15 days. This logic has to sink into your brains first. It should be understood. Yeah,
Sir, n- sir, am I audible, sir?
please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Now it is like understandable, sir. If you settle by explaining by step to step, it is understandable. But only by giving that statement, how to solve this one?
Only this question.
Like how? Yes, sir. Like you have explained each step one by one. But as a point of programmer, how to solve this? Like
Ask
from
interviewer also to explain like me. No. So for example, if somebody gives you question paper to write the answers in your maybe 10th exam, intermediate exam and all, what did you do? Did you ask, explain
uh,
the question and all?
no, sir.
What did you do then?
Practice,
You prepared, right?
learn.
Same
Yes,
thing.
sir.
Same thing. To understand and it has to sink into our brains. And when you sit in any coding interview, what I have explained has to be there in your mind. That's how you have to write the logic. They may not give same question. Something they'll give new. But what should be the
Yes,
approach? Break it into simple tasks and understand it step by step approach, then write a logic so that it will work. And whether it's working or not, we can trace it, which I'm about to explain. We can trace it also. Then we can make it corrections as well. That's how a logic will be there. That's why I'm not directly jumping this prime number program. I come very slowly from simple even number, odd number, vowel, consonants. Then we are moving into the next level of questions. Okay.
yes, sir.
Then let us check for 2, 3 numbers. Let us check this logic will work or not. So first there is a count variable. So here I am taking count. This is called as tracing process. I am tracing the loop, whether it's working correct or not. The next JVM comes to first line, then initialization. So what is that variable? I variable we are tracing, whose value is 1 assigned. Then I condition. I is less than or equals 10 or not. Next condition. Then followed by count values become 0. Then one more variable called j, and whose value were initialized to 1. Then one more condition, j less than or equals to I, whose, what's the condition? 1 less than or equals to 1 in first scenario. J value is less than or equal to I or not. Then what's the condition? True. Therefore, JVM enters into the body. What is this? I mod j. I modulo j. Correct? That is 1 mod 1. What's the count? 1 modulo 1. True or false? First scenario. True. Correct? Then enters into the body. What will happen? Count will become plus 1. So it becomes 1. Previously it was 0. Now it is changed to 1. The next j will become, j loop is not terminated yet. That's why j becomes 2. So from this, did JVM comes directly outside? No, as long as this j condition becomes false, the inner loop will keep on executing. That's why j will become 2. Then what's the condition? 2 less than or equals to 1 or not. True or false? False. Therefore, JVM comes to this if condition. Count equal to 2. What's the count value? 1. Is 1 equal to 2? It's a false. Therefore, will JVM enter this body? No. After what is there? Closing of for loop, but for loop not terminated. Out for loop is not terminated yet. Therefore, JVM comes to this I value incrementation. I becomes plus 1. Yeah. I becomes plus 1. So then, what is that? I is less than or equal to 10 or not. That is 2 is less than or equal to 10 or not. So here first one is true only. Then here 2 is less than or equal to 10 or not. True or false? True. Therefore, enters into the body once again. Then count will become, so count value previously whatever it is, now it is reset to 0. The next for loop. What is j value? J value is what? What are you initializing? J will be initialized to 1 once again. Then j condition. J is 1 less than or equals to I value 2. True or false? True. Then enters into the body. What is the condition? I mod j. What is I value? 2 mod j is 1 currently. True or false? True. Because 2 modulo 1 is 0 only, no? Then enters into the body. Count will become plus 1. Then next, j will be incremented. J becomes 2. What's the condition? J less than or equals to I. 2 less than or equals to 2. True or false? True. Then enters into the body once again. What is the condition? 2 modulo 2 equals 0 or not? True. Then enters into the if loop, if condition body. Then increments I value by 1 more. That's why becomes 2. The next j will be incremented once again. J becomes 3. 3 less than or equals to 3. True or false? False. Therefore, JVM comes out of the inner loop. Then here is a condition. Then what is the count equal to 2? Is the count equal to 2? Yes. Then print the current I value. What's the current I value? That's our first output. Then goes for incrementation of I value. Then I will become 3. Then make count as 0 once again. Then inner loop. J has to start from 1. The next 1 less than or equals to 3 this time. Latest I value. Then condition check. So that is how the loop will function. So this is the tracing process. Yeah. So these many ways we can make sure to check our logic is working as per our requirement or not. Clear? No? Sure. Please go through this video once again. Then I'm going to give some practice questions on this. Write a Java program to check and print a given number is prime or not. What's the difference from the discussed question to this question? There we are printing a list of prime numbers from 1 to 10. How many are there? But for example, here I am giving some 50 as a input. Is 50 is a prime number or not? You have to print it. Understood? For example, if you are giving 97, 97 is a prime number or not? You have to write the think of the logic. So for all prime numbers based course, all prime numbers based questions, this is the logic. This is the base logic. With some modifications here and there, you have to write the logic for remaining question. I don't know. Write a Java program to print count of prime numbers from 1 to 100. Count of prime numbers from 1 to 100. So previously what we are doing? We are printing. I don't want print, I want to count it and print how many are there. Okay, again think there is a small change in the code, that's all. The next one, write a Java program to print sum of prime numbers. Sum of prime numbers from 200 to 500. Yeah. Beyond this, you don't get any prime numbers based questions.